Hey guys, so if you're thinking of starting a line marking business or a line striping company, this is definitely the episode for you. Today I got a question through from John at Precision Line Marking in New Zealand. In fact, I got 5 questions through, and I'm pretty sure some of these questions are going to relate to you if you're thinking of starting a line striping or a line marking business. So let's dive in and have a very quick look at what John has asked us. So, John has said to us he's in the middle of starting up a line marking business in New Zealand. His website is now done. He's acquiring equipment, but he's not yet laid down a line, but should be there in the next week or two. Now, I've watched, I think, all of your videos, and I've found you by far the most useful resource on YouTube for line marking. So here are my 5 questions. In the beginning, how did you get jobs? Was it through Google Ads? Did you do a lot of old school sales like driving around looking for worn out lines? And do you have any tips based on your experience? Well, to be perfectly frank, I have never been into the sort of door knocking, cold calling. I just find that there is such a low propensity to purchase doing sales that way. You imagine somebody knocks on your door and says, hey, do you want to buy a cold plunge for $3,000? And you're thinking, well, no, not particularly. I've already got one, or whatever it may be. The chances are the propensity to purchase is low. Now, when somebody comes to you from Google, there's a higher propensity to purchase. They are actively looking to buy that. So put yourself in the position of your customer. If you wanted to buy a new phone, a new mouse, chances are you're gonna go on Google, you're gonna find it, you're gonna go on Amazon, whatever it is. But if somebody just turns up and says, hey, wanna buy a mouse? You're probably gonna say no. So instead, you wanna be able to rank for this particular mouse, writing blog posts, writing reports, writing reviews, whatever it may be, get this thing to rank. That's how to get the sale. And really, I would say in sales, I have zero interest in trying to push somebody toward a sale. I haven't got the patience or the interest. I don't honestly mind if they don't buy. I have enough people coming through the door that I can sell to people that are interested. And I would much rather do that because they're just easier to sell to. So keep it simple, keep it easy on you. I would say that in the beginning, in fact, not even just in the beginning, even right now, the main way we attract customers is through Google Ads. Give you an idea, over the last 2 years or this year, whenever it is, I've spent £93,000 just on Google, on adverts. And I've got a conversion rate, a cost per conversion rate. Now that's an important distinction, we'll come back to that in a sec, of £80, conversion rate of 9.9, and impression share of 27.8 or 27.9. Now, let's just rush back over to here to the cost per conversion. When you set up your Google Ads, and my honest recommendation when you're doing Google Ads, you can do it yourself, right? I started out doing it on my own. I think I did it for the first month. I spent £7,000 or £8,000 and got maybe 20 inquiries for that. Really, really bad. Now I get probably 90 inquiries a month, but I spend probably $5,000, give or take, for 90 odd inquiries. But overall, I think it's about 80 I've spent to get a conversion. Now, conversion, let's talk about that really quickly. A conversion for me means that somebody has filled out a form on my website and clicked submit. Now, the reason I do this is because I want to track exactly how many people are calling me and then how many of those I'm selling to, and that gives me my true cost. So when I look at this and it says, okay, £80 for a conversion, that means they filled out a form and inquired. From there, it's my job to convert that to a sale. Now, if you're selling to 1 in 2, 1 in 3, 1 in 4, 1 in 5, whatever it may be, for me, it averages about 1 in 4, so 25% conversion rate, roughly. So I know that actually the cost to acquire a customer is £320 on average. But that doesn't take into account the lifetime value of a customer, because I could spend more than that and it would still be worthwhile, because the lifetime value of that customer, let's say I attracted somebody like DHL or Amazon, by the way, customers we have, the lifetime value of that is worth so much more than the initial sale. So the initial cost, let's say it's £320, seems really high because the first job's only £1,000. After I've done that first job, the next job's £20,000. Oh, by the way, they got 50 sites. So there's 1,000 here, 1,000 here, 1,000 here. And I go, these are all recommendations from within a business or an organization. So the lifetime value of that customer is astronomically bigger than what it initially seemed. And so the cost per conversion is reasonable. Now you need to work out what your cost per conversion is. And I would say this is very, very important when you consider it with your lifetime value, because if you're going after let's say a car park in an office, chances are they've only got one car park, which means the lifetime value of that customer is quite low. Maybe one, maybe two sales. But if you're going for a warehouse or a logistics site, they've probably got the car park, they've got a warehouse yard, they've got the indoor lines, then they've got things that change, like a near miss or an accident spurs on the idea of adding a new walkway, a zebra crossing. They get some new EV cars, they want EV bays installing. Little things like this. They also just change layouts of warehouses. So you look at the lifetime value and go, oh, that's worth a lot more than just a car park that gets refreshed, once every 2 or 3 years. So I think when I see a lot of other people doing line marking, especially US based, they seem to focus on parking lots. And I think that's an easy way to start. But when you're considering, okay, I've sold the parking lot for $500, whatever it may be, but they're not going to buy for 2 more years. That to me seems crazy. I'd be thinking, how am I going to make more money off of this? Because the cost to convert that customer was $300. There's no money in it. If anything, I'm probably losing money. So you need to think about who your customer is before you start your Google advertising. Once you do your Google ads, we need to work out your conversion rates and of course, what you're willing to pay based on the type of customer you're going to get. Like I say, if you're just going for a parking lot or a car park, chances are they're going to buy it once, maybe again in 2 or 3 years time, maybe, but they're probably not going to do it between now and then. If you go for a warehouse, for example, they might buy it more often. Now, recently I've changed a little bit of my focus. So linemark.com started out sort of selling to everything to everybody. We quickly brought that back in and gone, okay, we're getting sales here, 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 and here. This is what we're going to focus on, what we can deliver that's easy, repeatable, easy to train, easy to manage. Once we figured all that out, we found our niche, that's what we focused on. So linemark.com focuses exclusively on logistics and warehousing, whereas we've done an offshoot company called Edulines that focuses primarily on schools because we know we can do a tennis court and a netball court, and I'm not joking, 4 minutes start to finish to paint a netball court or a tennis court in. 4 minutes we can get them painted in. If it's a brand new, there's nothing down, it takes about an hour, but an overmark, 4 minutes start to finish. That's how to make some serious money. Not only that, a lot of schools here in the UK, they are parts of academies or trusts. They typically aren't just a standalone school. They will have multiple schools in that academy or trust. And so you might look at one school and go, okay, not worth masses, cost me 300 to get in, the job's only 2 grand or whatever, 3 grand, let's say, so it's 10% cost. But actually they've got 10 schools in that trust or academy. Suddenly, bam, that cost is absolutely minimal, might drop to 1%, so really, really worthwhile. And we're looking for repeat sales the whole time. So hopefully that answers your very first question. Do you go around dropping in on people, having a look for worn out lines? Nope. And I think the difficult part here is when you're brand new to line marketing, or any business, in fact, like you're brand new, you don't have anything else to do. Like you've got nothing to organize, you've got no paints to get, you've got no machinery to set up, you've got no invoices to send, you've got no reports to do, you've got nothing. So you kind of sat there going, well, now what? I would say that time is better spent writing blog posts, researching, doing everything you can for your website to try and get organic leads in, because there is literally nothing else to do in that time. So I would be trying to build up my skill levels, I'd be doing some online training, I'd be writing blog posts. And one of the things we did, once we really narrowed our niche down, that's when we started to build our training academy and go, okay, we're gonna focus on doing this. Now we're gonna train everybody the set standard to do all of that. We started running more blog posts and it kind of went from there. So to answer the very first question, my tips, do Google advertising. You need to mix it with SEO as well. Next question, how long did it take your website to start getting meaningful organic traffic, and are you doing SEO yourself? Great question. I don't do SEO myself and I don't do adverts myself. Quite frankly, I don't have an interest. I don't care. I'm not, in fact, I actually think I would loathe to spend the day in the office doing that. I love spending my time making videos for you guys. So I'll go out, I'll see the guys on site, I'll do a video for half an hour to an hour on site, see how everything's going. And that's kind of my role. I'm not really sure how to describe my job. I would say it's marketing and branding more than anything else. So I kind of enjoy doing that. I hate the idea of sitting there writing SEO content and writing blog posts myself. Now, if you are gonna do that yourself, I think there's a couple of tools that would really help you. What's good about Ahrefs is you can track keywords for your websites. Now, you can also plug your competitors' websites. So for example, you're based in New Zealand. So I would say look for who your competitors are around your area I would plug their websites in and I would be finding the keywords that their websites are ranking for. And those are the keywords, provided that's the customer I'm after, those are the keywords I would try to rank for and write content with. So in terms of how long does it take, I would say I got nothing for the first year. And it's a painful process because if you're gonna do it yourself, it's cheaper, but I think it's so much harder. And unless you're really committed in being an expert at that, then I don't think it's worth doing. Like, I think with anything, unless you are committing 100% to being an expert at this, then honestly, just pay an expert. That's just my opinion. It's really difficult when you haven't got any money and you haven't got any sales through the door. I totally get that. But I would say it's worth paying a company and working with them to write your own blog posts, and then you'll start seeing traffic come through. To give you an idea, let me give you a report that I had. Okay, so here's a report from my adverts in December. Now, December for us, we don't really bother advertising too much because it's Christmas. We're shut for 2 weeks of it anyway, and most of our customers, they're not looking to buy line markings the week before Christmas. So we find that December and January, for example, are really, really quiet. But to give you an idea of organic performance, we turned our ads really far down. So cost per lead for December was hovering around, what, £82 it says on here? No, sorry, we're less than 75. We're what, £65 on here it is for December, where we had a target of 82. We were way below, which is great. Total leads, so for this one we got 45 leads in, we targeted 100, we didn't quite hit it. Other months we're getting well over 100 leads, so you can see that we're getting in through here as well, so works really, really nice. But we saw traffic drop 27% in December, which we expected, and we still generated 43 leads at a cost of £63 per lead. Now pay-per-click, yeah, we're talking about SEO on this part, but that's the pay-per-click. Organic for us, now organic traffic dropped by 13% in December. That's a big drop, but it's December, we expect that. Although overall leads were severely impacted, 7 versus 15 in November, we hope this will recover again in January. Now, November's always low, December's really low, and January you can see from 2024 was also, I mean, it picked up, it was bigger than December, but it wasn't until February that it starts to get back up again, sort of like we're getting to 20s and then 30s for organic leads. So I would say I wouldn't expect much for your first year of just doing SEO. Yes, it's absolutely going to take some time for the SEO to pay off. Now, the difficult part I find with SEO is because it takes time. When I first looked at it, I thought, okay, I'll just write some blog posts myself because it's free, essentially, I've got nothing else to do. But the problem I found is my blog posts weren't good enough. So I used Ahrefs to sort of help me with writing. Now we have tools like ChatGPT. Now, if you go to ChatGPT, I use the Pro version, so if I just bring it up here, you can see my subscription. I think I'm paying like $200 a month. So if I just bring up the payment thing, I'm pretty sure it's like $200 a month I pay. Now, the reason I do this, yeah, here we go, $200 monthly, $200. It's an awful lot of money, I get that. But if you're not paying an agency and you really want good quality content, I'd say you want Ahrefs or something similar to help you find the right keywords in the rankings, and then use ChatGPT to say, these are the rankings in the report I've had from Ahrefs. Use this to help me write content on this. It will then give you back a good piece of content. Now, you might need to try and humanize it or whatever. I find that that's a good starting point. It's a bit of a cheat, and I think it's becoming more and more, I don't know, just overused, but it's a good way of starting. Now, my honest opinion is pay an agency. I pay £1,200 a month here in the UK to have an agency do the SEO for me. And as I say, it's producing 30 odd leads a month for me now currently. So if I get an average of 90, it's producing 1/3 of my inquiries just for SEO. Now, SEO is a long-term strategy, like I say. I think though, if it's currently doing 1/3 of my leads and 1/3 of my sales, I think give it another 2 years, I can get that to at least 50% of my sales on SEO. The way I'm gonna do that is I'm currently spending $1,200 a month. My plan is to bring somebody in full-time and pay them like $3,500 a month, which arguably it's a couple of £1,000 more than I'm paying, but it will mean I have somebody full-time 5 days a week. I think the difference I will get from my part-time sort of agency, I don't know how many hours they even do for it. I just get I pay a £1,200 plus VAT and I get some SEO work done. I think by paying somebody full-time, my SEO scores are gonna go way, way up. I'm gonna rank for keywords better. I'm gonna come up, just for all the things that are important to my business. So I would say start with an agency. If you wanted to do some bits yourself, write some blog posts as well, give it to the agency to review, but definitely I would focus on getting an agency in. It will save you an awful lot of time. The difficult part I found to start with was that I looked at it and went, okay, for £1,200 though, I could just put that into Google Ads and I know I'm gonna get sales from it. It's almost guaranteed because I know if I spend, £100, I'm gonna get £500 back or £700 back. So why wouldn't I put it into Google? And the truth is, I struggled with that for a long time. And I just went with it and said, fuck it, I'll pay the SEO fee and I'll pay the Google Ads fee. We'll just find the money. And it's now starting to work, but it has taken a bit of time. So I think ultimately it will take over. And what's nice is if you ever want to turn your adverts off from Google for a month or so, like we do, for example, in January, we don't really run many ads. In December, we don't really run many ads, but our organic SEO still goes. And what's nice is I can go, okay, cut my Google spend for 2 months. I'll save, if I spend an average of £5 a month, I'll save £10,000 over 8 weeks. But my SEO will still keep bringing in leads for me. But I know I'm not gonna get many clicks and many leads anyway from the other bits. The other thing I find this time of the year, so it's end of April, it's the 30th of April today. It's the end of the year. Everybody is ramming their budget into their AdWords campaigns this month, and they will continue to ramp up their AdWords campaigns until about July, August, when people go on holiday and then they cut the adverts back down again. Now, if your SEO is working really well and you're getting organic leads in, then it's not costing you anywhere near as much as people are paying for clicks on Google, because trust me, the cost per click can go miles high. And although you can set what you're willing to pay per click, the reality is if you're not on that very sort of top list on the first page of Google, probably not gonna get anywhere. So the best place I would say is being organic, and then you've got the adverts at the top. But that is second best, the adverts at the top. They are the second best. A lot of people just prefer the organic because they think they're a better, more trustworthy business. That's where you want to be. So my advice, find the money to spend on SEO, get a professional. When you get enough money coming in, instead of going out and buying the flashy car, hire the SEO expert, bring them in-house, ramp up your SEO, get the sales, you will get that. When I searched Line Marking UK, you ranked #1. Do you have any silver bullets for outranking your competitors so quickly? I've been down all the SEO rabbit holes already. I kind of feel that's part of the same question above. I think that's answered for you already. Get a professional to do it. I went all in on the SEO eventually. I wasn't one in because it was so expensive to start with, but honestly, I just got on with it and did it, and it worked absolutely fine. Next, #4, you do offer a wide variety of services. Did you start out this way, or was it where the jobs led you? Would you say it's better to work out, would you say it's better to work and then figure out how to make it happen, or stay narrow in the beginning? So you need to understand what the market is around you. I live in Northamptonshire. Around here, it's predominantly warehousing and logistics. And for that reason, that's what our target is. If you're in a city, you might want to focus more on schools and offices. If you're in the countryside, I have no idea, maybe main roads, country roads, that sort of thing. It depends on what you're interested in doing. Now, when we first started out, we did everything and we didn't have a clue what we were doing. It wasn't until we started to get sales in the door and go, okay, we're selling this, and this, but this is more profitable than this. So for example, I did car parks, right, for offices. The problem with that is, although it's fine, you do an office car park nice and easy, most office car parks are full Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, so you've got to do it outside of those hours, which means you're doing a night shift, which I don't want to do. I've got kids, I got a life, I don't want to do that. So the other issue I have with that is, typically, if somebody's got an office, they've probably only got one office, which means you're doing their car park once, maybe every couple of years. Now, I see videos from people, say in the US, they're doing a parking lot and they're like, oh, we've just done the parking lot, $500. I'm thinking, okay, cool, but they've only got one parking lot. What if instead you focused on a warehouse, and the warehouse has got the parking lot, or the parking, car park, whatever you want to call it, out the front. It's got the lorry yard out the back, and it's got the warehouse floor inside. Now, what's nice about this is, although the car park's full during the day, the lorry yard is empty because the lorries are out doing deliveries. And so you can kind of hit best of both with that. In addition, they've also got the warehouse. So this one customer has now got 3 areas you can line mark, but not only that, most businesses that are big enough to have a warehouse with a lorry yard and a car park tend to expand to more than one, which means the cost of acquiring that customer comes down. Now, this is important, as I mentioned, because when you look at the lifetime value of a business, of a customer, and you go, okay, let's say it cost me £300 to acquire a customer, and I would use that as a rough figure. For example, it cost me £80 per conversion. I hit 25% conversion rate, which means it cost me £320 for a customer. But if I'm selling to DHL or Amazon, they've got 20, 30, 40, 50 sites, which means actually the lifetime value of that customer is up here, which means the cost for acquiring drops to nothing almost. Absolutely amazing. If you're going after a customer that only has one site, like an office car park, then the cost of acquiring them is quite high and the lifetime value quite low. I would say go for something that you can sell repetitively. Now, when we did this, we found the same with schools. Typically, schools here in the UK are part of trusts and academies. They usually have, multiple schools, and they all have car parks. They also all have playgrounds, and we can sell to all of that sort of area. So it worked quite nicely. You need to figure out though, where can I get repeat customers? How can I reduce the acquisition cost of the customer? How can I increase the lifetime value? And what do I really enjoy? Because, like I say, we started out doing logistics and warehousing because it's local to us, and we do the car parks, we do the yards, and we do the warehouse floors. The warehouse floors, big money but lower margins. The car parks and lorry yards, I'd say smaller money but much higher margins. Very, very quick to do as well, and a lot less pernickety about things, because warehouse floors you've got to be so precise on. Whereas outside you can kind of get away with it being, normal. So anyway, I would say that once we did that, we also then realized, what do we enjoy? We really enjoy doing schools because we can paint a netball court and a tennis court in 4 minutes flat. Start to finish as an overmark, 4 minutes flat. Whereas if we're doing a brand new layout, it takes about an hour. But it's really, really nice and easy and quite fun to do. So we started to focus as a side shoot called Edgy Lines that just focuses on schools. So we've got our main business, linemark.com, that does warehousing and logistics. As an offshoot, we have Edgy Lines that focuses purely on playground line markings. Again, because there was very, very little competition for it. In fact, nobody that specifically targets schools but those sort of markings. The only companies here in the UK that do anything similar, they do what we call preformed markings, where you do decorative like snakes and ladders and things like that. So not really a direct competitor in that sense. So we're focusing purely on playground markings that do painted in sort of thing. Anyway, that's like an offshoot that we quite enjoy. So find out, where can I get repeat work from? What do I enjoy doing? I would say doing warehouse line marking, for example, is the least fun, but you can do it all year round. And you have to be an absolute freaking expert. Whereas doing a car park, you don't have to, I don't know, it's just, I'm sure you guys know exactly what I mean. It's a bit more forgiving. A warehouse line has no forgiveness in it though at all, because once you shave that floor and shot blast it in, it's there for life. There's nothing you can do about that. In a car park, if you make a mistake, you can fix it. On a warehouse floor, so difficult to fix it. That's my advice. Find out what you enjoy, find out what's in your area, focus on doing that if you can. Last one, in your videos you do mostly layouts with a chalk line. I've seen you toying around with some laser lines, but not really using them in place of chalk. Is there any reason for this? I have no employees to start with, so think about how I can make things easy for a one-man team. Nice and easy, right? The reason I do things in chalk is because I've done it before where we just paint the whole thing in and the customer goes, oh, I think that would have been better over there. Or could we move this over that way? And once it's painted, it's too late. The reason I do it in chalk is one, it's, I think, very, very quick. But two, it's visual confirmation that I get from my customer or from my other team members that are with me. So if we're doing a car park layout, I insist it's done in chalk first. We just ping the lines in. We can then go to the customer and say, hey, this is your car parks, this is your walkway, that's your zebra crossing, that's where that one goes that way. Are you happy before we paint it all in? Because once it's in, there's no changing it. Are you dead sure? This gives the customer an opportunity to say, could we move that over here? And there's no impact to the project. So that's the first reason I chalk everything out. I get confirmation from my customer. The second one is I like to visually see everything I'm doing before I do it. I want to know, is that going to look right? Is it going to look wrong? And I just like the way that works. Now, if you're doing it on your own, a nice easy way to do this, get a string line or a chalk line, whatever it is, and a tin of paint. Put the tin of paint on one end of the string, so you pop your string on the floor, drop your tin of paint on it, and then pull it out, get it to where you want your line, ping, that's gonna give you a nice straight string line, all on your own, don't need anybody else. But there is a benefit to having somebody else, and it's not really that you need them, But what they do again is they give you that confirmation that they understand that what you've done looks right to them as well. Because at the end of the day, this isn't complicated. It's a car park or a walkway or a lorry bay or whatever it is, but everybody's going, they all know what it looks like. And I would say like just having somebody available, like a friend, a parent, whatever it may be, a kid, just to go, okay, we're gonna pull this in, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. I will talk through the project, talk through what I'm doing, and people go, oh yeah, okay, cool, or no, oh, okay, I didn't think of that. And then I can sort of gauge their opinion and feedback. And I think when you're starting out and you're lacking a bit of confidence, that's definitely the way to do it. Now, you did ask about lasers. I'm gonna let you in, because I have been talking for like 25, 26 minutes here. I'm gonna wrap it up, but I'm gonna give you a little secret, right, between you and me, just for sticking around this long. If you guys don't know Laserline MFG, these are the guys that build the lasers for Graco. Now, when I buy my lasers, I buy direct from the manufacturers. I don't go to Graco, and I don't go to any of their suppliers here in the UK. This laser right here, for example, is $425 is what I pay for it in the US from Laserline MFG. Now, if I were to buy that, it's the Meon laser kit here, the 1700 laser, the exact same laser, that thing there, is the exact same as this one here. This is £2,000 plus the VAT, which is 2,410. It is positively $2,000 more than it would be for me to buy direct. So I can buy it direct for $400 or $425, or I can buy it from Meon for $2,400. Now, I personally won't buy from anybody else, but direct if I can. Now, they also do the GL1000, which is the one that a lot of people use with the reflective box. Very, very good system. I see an awful lot of people using it in the US. I've got one myself. I don't use it though, as I say, because I like to get the customer to confirm it. Before I paint it in, I want to chalk it and go, are you happy? Because once this is painted, nothing else can be done. This is it. Tell me now if you're not happy. And they go, yeah, cool, we trust you, Alex, let's get it in. I go, great, bam it in, no problem at all. It might take an extra hour of like talking to the customer and everything else and chalking it out. But honestly, if you've ever had a customer afterwards go, why didn't you ask me? Why didn't you just say? Oh my God, it saves that conversation. And the thing is, it's not even just that one like disagreement or fallout. I want my reputation to be the best. I want the repeat service. I want the repeat sales. I want the maximum amount of money. I want to give them the best service possible. I'll take the extra hour, chalk it all out and go, here you go. This is the best way to do it. What do you think? Now, again, if you want to buy the GL1000 that again, a lot of guys use it in the US, you can pick it up for $1,400 here, but I would say go with the battery kit and the box and everything else. It'll cost you $1,700. Here in the UK, you're going to be forking out nearly 5K for this thing. Quite honestly, yeah, absolute piss take on pricing. I would buy direct. So that's like my little gift to you guys for sticking around for near half an hour with me. I hope that really helps. If you guys have got any other questions, anything else I can help you with, anything else you want to know, by all means do let me know. Oh, in fact, before we go, John mentioned to me he's got his website finished. Let me just show you one little thing really, really quickly. Oh, you know what? Here it is. Hold on. Let me just show you this because this is really, really important. So when you're building your website, sorry, I'm just loading it up here. And okay, so when you're building your website, this little thing here gives you an indication of what devices people are using when they're on your website. So you'll notice we have a lot of people coming between mobiles and computers, and then we've got our impression share, mobiles and computers here, and then our clicks. Now, the cost is higher for me to spend on computers than it is for mobiles, because typically there's a higher propensity to purchase on a computer, but more people visit my website, 51.6% visit me on a mobile, and see my ad, and my clicks, 58.2% are on mobile. When you build your website, you need to make sure it is mobile first. This is only going to become even more apparent as time goes on. Making sure your website is mobile first is absolutely imperative. Most of my customers come to me from a mobile. I imagine it's exactly the same for you. So that's my only last piece of advice. Thank you for sticking around for so long. I hope it really, really helps, John. Good luck with your business. And if anybody else has any other questions, by all means, reach out. Look forward to hearing from you. See you guys in the next one.